If you have clients paying 5 different prices for the same service, you're not being kind. You're actually sabotaging your business. And honestly, you're sabotaging the client too. In this episode of C2C, I want to talk about why your retention, your revenue, and your entire client experience actually improves the moment that everyone is on the same pricing structure and they're paying the same rate. And this comes off a conversation I had last week with a client. There is this inconsistent pricing chaos that I see with a lot of businesses that have been established for a long time. So these are people that have been retaining clients past year 3 and year 4, where they have tons of different people. In this case, with this client, it was 132 people locked into ancient prices. This is prices that they're paying for founding members rate or things that they did year 1 that no longer make sense year 4. And there's tons of cases. Some of them are paying literally half of their regular rate. Some are paying a third of what they should be paying. And then even worse, some of them have these couple discounts or family discounts that no longer make any sense, because by the time you run the cost to pay the person to do the service, and you're also paying to use the space if you're a type of person who has a facility, then you're running the numbers and it's like, holy cow, it doesn't work anymore. And when I was running the numbers for the client, it was actually costing them $6,500 a month by keeping these people at the same rate. That is a very large difference. $6,500 a month is enough for you to hire an additional employee and have an extra $2,500 profit per month. That's very, very big. And all of these people tend to add up, but I understand why this happens. And I'll tell you, it happens with everyone. It happens with gyms, it happens with physios, naturopaths, nutritionists, just in different ways. For gyms, what happens is you sign someone up on PT and then you feel awkward. You don't want to have that conversation again. So you're like, well, we're just going to keep re-signing them with the same amount. For physios, you have an initial plans. Actually, same thing with nutritionists, where you do the initial plan. Maybe you've worked with them for 6 weeks or 12 weeks. Then the person leaves and then they come back a full year later, but they're asking for the same service and the same pricing as last time. And guess what? You don't have the heart to tell them, hey, look, stuff has changed here. And for naturopaths, it's effectively the same thing, where you go on a protocol, you give them the protocol, and then 2 years later or 3 years later, they come back and all of a sudden your service and your pricing is totally different. It is always the same pattern. And when people get into this pattern of having their clients on all this different type of pricing, what happens is they start to justify why the pricing is different. They're like, well, this person is paying 30% less, but I'm the type of person who rewards loyalty and they've renewed with me 3 or 4 times. So I'm not going to change their price. I'm just going to keep them paying the same. Or maybe you're saying to yourself, well, you know what? This person, they've showed up every time. I really like working with them. They're not paying me what other people are paying me, but I really like them. So you know what? I'm going to justify keeping them at the same rate. I will say this, you're not wrong for wanting to reward long-term loyalty. There's nothing wrong with that. That being said, what you were doing when you were not increasing your prices year over year and keeping everyone at the same price is you're actually avoiding the pricing conversation out of fear. These are the feared decisions that create businesses that bleed money quietly. Because when you start having people, in the case of my client, 132 people that are at totally different price points that don't make sense, there's a lot that's actually going to happen when they start talking with other people. And that was one of the things that they were having a conversation and why we worked to fix it inside of their business. So the first issue that they were finding is that it was destroying retention inside of your business. When you have people at different price points, it's actually very counterintuitive because clients talk, and when they compare your prices, it's going to damage their trust, especially if they're on the same program or they're taking the same service. Because even if they don't mean to, and it's not something that's hush-hush, people will always accidentally reveal what they pay or how long they've been working with a coach or how long they've been a part of your program. So now if client A realizes that client B pays half for the same service, they're going to start resenting you as the practitioner. Resentment kills retention, because why would I stay with someone who is charging more just because it's me? It never feels good to be the person that is being charged more, just as it never feels good to be the person that is being paid the least. And there was actually this show that I watched. It was a very interesting, I call it a show, it was a documentary, about a gentleman who ran a $100 million plumbing business. And he had multiple trucks on the road, multiple techs, and people. He found this huge disparity gap where he was paying people of the same jobs doing the same thing, all different rates. And he actually did an experiment where he publicly posted everyone's salary with their permission, of course, and he volunteered everyone to write their salary down and then basically work out a median, and he up-leveled the people and down-leveled some, so they were all paying the same for the same job, and everyone was in full agreement. Because when someone was making 3K more than the person and they were doing the same work, they felt almost stupid that this person was not making as much money, even though there was the same quality of work. It's actually the same thing when it comes to the clients who work with you. If you have people on different prices, but you're providing the exact same service, you are going to get resentment. And why would they continue to renew with you? Because if you're not being upfront with your pricing and you're not having everyone pay the same, then they're just going to go find someone that they are going to trust. So it's an erosion of trust. Now, when some clients pay more than others, higher paying clients actually start questioning your value too. Because if I pay 3 times more than someone else or 20% more than someone else, but you're delivering the same for me, what happens is I start to feel punished for joining later. I'm subconsciously wondering, hey, am I getting ripped off, or is this person not over delivering to me? Because technically I am paying more than the other person. And I can tell you this, when clients pay outdated pricing, you as a practitioner or professional, you subconsciously show up different. You do. There is a level of difference that you show up because when the person is paying you less and you know that you should be compensated more, you stop going all in for the people who drain that margin. And look, you don't want to feel that way, but it happens to every single practitioner. Because as you continue to get new skills, educate yourself more, up-level your services, you're up-leveling your knowledge, you're growing your team, but all of a sudden you have someone who doesn't recognize that value and who's not paying more, you're going to start to give them less. And what happens is when you do that, they see less results, and then it affects your retention. What ends up happening to these people is as they continue to pay less and less, they're going to expect more and more. That's why I always say equal pricing creates equal energy. When you have everyone at a minimum price point, and I'm not saying everyone pays the same, there's going to be different services. Some people might want individual coaching. Some people might want group coaching. Others may want just nutrition. People may want nutrition and accountability. Some of them might want a specific protocol. That doesn't matter. That pricing is going to be different. But if it is the same service provided the same way to every person, they should all be on the same price point. That way, it ensures you have equal expectations out of everyone. There's equal delivery from you, the practitioner, to the client. There's an equal level of commitment, because if I know that I spent just as much as the other person beside me, I'm going to show up equally. And there's also equal boundaries, because now I know that we are on the same playing field, and that is going to improve retention when someone has a level of respect to actually pay you all the same. There's another issue when it comes to having different price points is as you continue to increase your price and you continue to be worth more as a practitioner, you're also going to find that the people who pay you the lowest actually start to be a lower quality client. Okay. And I want you to understand this. There's a nuance to this. It's not about judging people. It's actually about buyer psychology. When people are purchasing on price, they're loyal to price. So that means if I'm going to spend $35 and I'm accustomed to this being $35, I'm going to treat it like a $35 offer versus someone who pays $400 for that same service is going to treat it completely differently. So there are people who purchase on price that are loyal to price, and there are people who purchase on value, and those people are loyal to transformation. Those are going to be the people that stay long term. Those are going to be the people that renew again. Those are going to be the people who show up to every session, who follow the protocol, and who understands the value of what you're providing, because they're not there for the price, they're there for the result. When you have a low price and it no longer justifies what you're charging now, it actually attracts clients who are inconsistent and really uncommitted. Because let's be real, how serious are you going to take a $35 a session or $50 a session compared to $300 or $520 that we have one of our clients paying on a per session basis? These are also the type of people who are going to require more hand-holding, and they're the ones who tend to have all of the complaints. When we had our coaching studio, at one point before we went into semi-private training, where it was very intimate and people were paying a minimum of $80 a session for group coaching, $80 a session per person, and it capped at 8 people. When we were doing the regular classes where we had 20 people in a class, so many people didn't show up to the class time that they registered. So many times they had a last minute cancellation and they're like, well, because I booked in the class, can I get the class added back to my pass? So many people were like, well, I'm going to take a week off for vacation, so can you take a week off of the payment? And all of that it's very cheap attitude, a cheap understanding of how a transformation works, and it's super inconsistent. And because of that, I spent a lot of time working on holds, giving people back certain things on their membership, having conversations that like, no, you signed up for a month, you're not going to get 3 days back on your pass. All of these things just required more hand-holding. It took more of my time and capacity, and I was like, no, I can't do this. But as I started to up-level my service and I started charging a higher price point, what I found was there were less complaints. People at a higher level don't complain about things because they understand and trust that the money and the value is there. As long as you show up and you do your job as the professional, like you are doing, people are going to pay, and they know that the service is going to come. You're not going to have random holds for a week. You're not going to have people who ask to pause something and then jump back on. You're not going to have people who are like, oh, I know I missed a session. I only gave you an hour's notice. Can I get that back and maybe rebook the session next week? No, these are going to be the type of people who go, hey, look, it's on me. I was back to back on meetings. I missed the session. Just take the hour off and I will catch you next week. Not a problem. Or I'll send you a couple questions via email. Or, hey, I know I said that I booked this time. Crazy sorry, I had issues with my kids and it's on me. The session gets eaten. As you continue to up-level your price, it attracts clients who take the work seriously. High price filters out the, I'm going to try it for a month. And this is true across fitness. This is true across nutrition, physiotherapy, coaching, any transformation-based business. When someone is investing at a higher level, it's not that they have less expectations, it's that they have more trust. People who pay cheap are always nickel and diming because they care about every penny, versus people who are willing to invest at a higher level do not have the time, energy, or capacity to even worry about $1 or $2 or a $30 session because they have other things that they're focused on. Price influences who someone becomes in the process. It changes how your clients show up. And great clients, they don't want cheap. They want clear services. They want fair services where you're delivering to them at a very high level. And they want consistent services where you're actually providing them the transformation and you're showing up all the time. There's this thing that I want to touch on as well too, which is discounting or like one-off deals. So many of the practitioners I work with is like, oh, well, we always run a sale every Black Friday. And then what they're getting is a person doesn't take action and they say, well, I'm just going to take them up on the next sale Black Friday. And you start training people to have these like whole they're signing up on discounts all the time. It's why I don't like discounting. It's why I don't like one-off deals, because they never work long-term. They might get the person to sign up the first time, but then they're not going to continue to re-sign because there's not going to be an offer. So to me, discounts create problems that compound over the years. One-off deals actually start to become permanent expectations. Because when you give 5 different deals, you're also creating 5 different versions of your business model. Every custom deal becomes a new rule that you have to remember to maintain. And if you keep going on like that, that's where you have 3 or 4 years down the road where your simple business is like, well, what did I tell this person? What did I give here? How come this person has a 15-minute check-in? Why does this person have a 30-minute check-in? So it's like, as you go through this process, there gets to a point where the discounts and stuff never work. And that's also why I don't like 21-day challenges. I don't like 6-week challenges. I don't like temporary or free months where it's like, get a free month to try us out, because then they're going to be looking for a discount on the back end of this. There's nothing wrong if you want to give people a benefit for paying in full, where they're going to save the credit card processing fees. There's nothing wrong if over the span of like 6 months compared to 8 months, the sessions become a little more affordable because they're committing to a long-term commitment. There is nothing wrong with all of those things. But if you're someone who's always selling 10% off, 30% off, get 10 classes for this much, all of that is going to cheapen and devalue your service. And it's actually not going to help you in terms of sales or help you in terms of retention, because the moment you stop offering deals, these people are going to go deal hunting somewhere else. Of all of the conversations I have, most practitioners think that deals help close clients. I find that practitioners who aren't confident in sales, practitioners who are in this space where it's like, oh, my sales game is kind of weak, I don't really know how to present the offer, they just make it super easy by giving a deal because then they feel safe to do the deal. But if you're having a hard time closing deals, basically you're really just destroying your ability to sell or to scale. You need to learn how to sell better. You need to learn how to prescribe your offers like we do inside of C2C, instead of doing this like, what are the options? Here's the discounts. If you buy this now and act fast thing. We don't do that because that gets people on urgency and scarcity. So to me, when I'm working with our clients inside of C2C, the prescriptive method of sales is the most effective way. What are your goals? What are you looking to achieve? Why is this important to you? Based on your goals, I'm recommending X program, and there's 2 options. You can do this and this. Which option works best for you? Cool, let's get you started. It's effectively that simple, where people can hop in front of you and be prescribed the solution like a doctor's prescribing the solution to a patient. And that's how sales should be. It shouldn't be sales. You should actually be serving the person, but you can't do that if you're deal hopping or you're creating these deals where people are deal hopping all the time. Okay. So in my opinion, there's a couple of reasons why everyone should be on the same membership structure. First reason is because it simplifies your bookkeeping. You're not juggling 7 different prices. You're not trying to create different offers where all of a sudden you have different profit margins for stuff. The most effective coaching businesses and practices that I have universal pricing across the board. Everyone is at a minimum rate, and that minimum has at least a 25 to 30% profit. And then all of the services build out and are scaled on add-ons. You should not have a single service or a single offer that does not make profit. If you're saying to yourself, hey, I have a 21-day program or a 6-week program that I'm selling at a loss so I can upsell this person on the back end, that makes sense for no one. Second reason, if you have everyone on the same price, it simplifies your delivery. This is what allows you to scale. Everyone gets the same access. Everyone has the same expectations. Everyone has the same boundaries. It simplifies the team fulfillment, because if you ever hire, guess what? Your team, they're going to be able to deliver consistently because it's done the same way to the same types of clients every single time. They're not going to remember, oh, who gets what, or how do I deliver to this person? So by streamlining your systems and by streamlining the delivery for either yourself or for your team, it is a lot easier for you to continue to scale and hire specific people to offload your business. Another great reason, it creates a sense of community fairness. I can't tell you, man, people talk. Your best clients need to feel like you care and that they're not being taken advantage of. And your older clients too. There was one client I had a very long time ago who actually approached me where they're like, hey, I just want to make sure, this was when I was new in business. So he had worked, I think it was close to 2 years with me. He re-signed with me 3 times. And when he was going to re-sign with me for a 4th, he's like, hey, I just want to make sure that I'm getting the right agreements. I'm still paying the same, right? And I said, well, what do you mean? And he was a business person. And he said, Andrew, I'm really grateful. And look, I won't say anything. And it's to my disadvantage to tell you this, but you've continued to grow and you've learned so much in terms of your training. You've offered so much in terms of services. Your pricing should be increasing. Because guess what? Inflation and your expenses increase year over year. So as much as this is a disadvantage to me, I would love to continue to pay the same rate if that's what you're going to give me. But if not, I'm pretty sure I'm due for a price increase. And I was like, holy crap, he's right. I haven't changed his price because it wasn't even something that was on my radar. But that's when I started to realize, like, if I'm going to give him a higher level of value, I don't want him to feel like a legacy project. I want him to feel like he's continuing to grow with me. Final reason is it positions you as the authority. Serious businesses do not do random deals. They don't. They're not trying to cut, well, you'll take 25% off. Oh, okay, I'll give it to you. You'll do 10%. Oh, okay. Practitioners often stay stuck in this area because they're making emotional decisions on price to cut these deals instead of CEO decisions where the deals are the same and they're willing to say no to someone. I say no to people all the time when it comes to pricing. I tell people a range, and the range is very simple. It's between X and X, and this is the way you should actually be telling your services to people. Hey, our range for our program is between $550 to $1,200 a month. We have different options anywhere from 3 months to upwards of 8 months, depending on what options and what goals work for you. Is there anything in that range that makes sense in terms of your investment? No? Not a problem. Are you open to maybe some payment plans for that? No? Okay, well then we're not for you because there is a minimum in the way that we work with people. And it's the same thing that you can build inside of your business. And again, that line that I just shared is part of the prescriptive method for the C2C program. Because what I found was a lot of practitioners are good at delivering the result, but they have a hell of a hard time selling the process and getting someone to commit to something. So this is why pricing is so important, that you get it right the first time. Create pricing that has your profit intact, that has a margin for you to hire or outsource a team, and that allows you to actually get excited and fired up to be able to sign on new people. Because I can tell you, the clients who pay me what I'm worth, those people are the ones that I show up at a very high level with every single day. Now, as you're watching this episode, you're probably saying to yourself, well, okay, Andrew, this is great. I can see why me having different pricings for my clients is not great. How do I get people to convert? Because the concern is I'm going to reach out to these people. They're going to be like, nope, I'm not paying double the rate, or I'm not increasing 30%, and I'm going to lose this person. To that, I'm going to say this is a numbers game. Okay. If you've got 50 clients on cheaper pricing, you don't need all 50 to convert and sign up. You need 15 of them to pay your true pricing, and that's going to cover the other 50, and it's going to free up hours of your time to fill up with people who actually will work with you. Even if the money is the same, you're going to take back more time working with less people. So do not be afraid to increase your price. And I increase my prices every year because guess what? This is a part of life. Things get more expensive. Your services, your quality, and your education doesn't decrease. It's only going to get better the more people you work with. So I kind of have a couple of steps that I follow when it comes to telling people. The first thing is I audit my roster. I take a look at all of the current clients. This is what I do with our clients inside of Coach to Coach. I look at how long they've been paying the old price, how far behind they are from the current price, and I look at their attendance and their engagement. Then I go into step 2. I create just one updated offer and one price, non-negotiable. It's very simple. You say to yourself, hey, I want the bare minimum person to be paying X, and you reach out to them, and it's just communicating with transparency and confidence. It's like, hey, old client Tom, I just wanted to reach out. You've been with us for 4 years. Super pumped for that. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey. One of the things that I wanted to have a conversation on was your program. So currently you're on this rate. We respect the hell out of you. That being said, that's a founding member offer. That's an old offer. It's not the way that we do our coaching anymore, however you want to say it. This is where now we have to take a look at what are some options that are going to be best for you. Because at this point, we've moved so far away from that at this point, it actually doesn't make any financial sense for us to be able to deliver to you in that way. I want to make sure that my team and I were showing up 100% for you. And in order for us to be able to do that, we actually have to put you in a price point that makes sense for us. Okay. And then boom, this is where you just say your pricing is being updated to match the level of service that we provide. You're still going to get everything that you've always received. And then effectively, it's going to start on X billing cycle. And guess what? You got to give them options. This is where you give them options. Hey, option 1, you still want to save a couple of bucks, maybe do a pay in full. It'll actually be a little less. Or if you want to transition here, we have this. 1 to 2 options. You give them the opportunity to be able to do that. And then step 4 is you have to get them to agree. If they don't agree, this is where you have to say, hey, I understand. I appreciate it. It was fantastic being able to serve you. But as of X date, we are no longer servicing this type of option. We just can't. It doesn't make sense. And as much as I love you, we're a business and I can't go broke being able to build it. It's a very direct conversation. People are not stupid. They're self-led human beings, and they know that you have to pay your bills and you have to pay your team as well. If they're not, this is where you just have to say, look, you know what? No legacy pricing, no awkward, but like only if you keep it quiet. You just say, hey, look, it's just not going to work. I really appreciate it. And then you allow them to leave and say, look, if you change your mind, you can always reach out to me within the next week or 2. We're going to finish you up at this point. In my experience, only about 5 to 10% of people drop off. But it's actually a good drop off. It's a good drop off because the people who normally drop off are the people who are the inconsistent clients. They're the price shoppers, and they're people who are taking up your emotional bandwidth. So when you lose the lowest value people, your energy and your revenue actually goes up. And then this is where you're going to watch your retention rise. This is where you're going to be able to have better clients. You're going to be able to set better boundaries. You're going to have better energy, and you're going to have better profit margin. So as you go through this process, understand that the only thing preventing you from making more money is not your clients, it's you. It is you as a practitioner. You have to get over the fear of being okay increasing your price and charging your clients more. And if you provide as much value as you say you do by justifying the new price that you're charging new people, then those people will understand and they'll be like, hey, it was a good run while it lasted. Now I guess I'm on the new price. That's basically how all of my conversations have been in the past. And it's how all of the conversations go with the clients who increase their prices inside of C2C. Just doing the price increase. I want you to actually do this. I'll leave this as an action step for this episode. Just increasing your price. If you said and you looked at all of your bottom 10% or your bottom 20% clients, and you said, if I brought them to regular rate, how much money would I actually be getting? You would be surprised. You would be surprised. $3,000 extra a month, $6,000 extra a month, $12,000 extra a month. It really does add up person to person. And these are not, you have to find new clients, nurture new leads, you have to run ads, you have to spend all this money. This is like a 10-minute conversation, an explanation per person, being super personable, and just setting new expectations. That's it. So through this process, I wanted to share with you in this episode, like a lot of the income that you could be leaving behind could solely be because you're either priced wrong or your pricing is old or you have people that you're afraid to communicate this with. Just do it. Do it and do it now before you get into this place where the pricing is so big, there's no way to do the gap jump. Like if you're charging $400 a month and people are paying $35, there's no way that you can quadruple the price and bring people up. This is where you start having mass client losses, which is why you have to be doing this stuff year over year. And as always, as we end this episode, if you need help with the sales, if developing a prescriptive method inside of your business is something that you need, so everyone is very confident selling, whether it's your team or it's yourself, whether you want everyone to be paying the same rate and pay you what you're worth, the prescriptive method inside of the C2C is exactly the first thing that we will teach you. We will help you get comfortable, so comfortable prescribing your offers that it just becomes an organic conversation, which is what it should be in the first place. This should just be an organic conversation to get someone to work with you. It's that easy. It's super effective. And alongside of that, we will also teach you client converting content to attract super high level clients, people who aren't afraid to invest. And then we implement effortless systems where these people will get automated renewal and notification reminders, so that way they can expect that the price is going to increase and perhaps take action earlier, so maybe they can lock in their rate for an additional 6 months. These are all the little tricks that our practitioners and health coaches use to increase their retention, improve their bottom line, so they can make more money and make more impact. Guys, we are taking on 2 more professionals for Coach to Coach all through December. Just go to growmycoaching.com/C2C Program. And then you can also book a discovery call with me. Yes, it is with me. And this is where we will be able to unpack your business, see exactly what's going on, and then create a customized plan for you. That is all for this episode, guys. Remember, the end of December, we're taking on 2 more practitioners for the C2C program. Thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next episode.